Well, brightest regards, my friends, and welcome to my show. I'm Lady Leeanna, and this, of course, is Tarot Card Lessons Made Easy. And today I want to go all the way back to the very beginning, because there are so many people that have indicated to me that they haven't the vaguest knowledge of the foremost information you should have regarding the tarot cards. And so I want to start there with getting to know your tarot cards, or getting to know the tarot cards at all. Okay, first off, let me start by saying that the majority of your tarot cards out there are based off the original Rider Waite Smith tarot deck, which are 78 cards, and there are two major categories within the 78 cards, and that is the major arcana and the minor arcana. The major arcana is consistent of 22 different cards, and they are labeled from 0 to 21. Now, these major arcanas are the most cornerstone idea of what the tarot cards are about. And all of the 4 suits within the minor arcana, which, by the way, that's what there are, 4 suits in the minor arcana, and there are 14 cards within each of these 4 suits. They are stemmed from, they're drawn from, and they're modeled from different aspects of the major arcana. Within the 4 suits of the minor arcana, you have the wands, you have, or some people call it staffs, you have the disc, or the pentagrams, you have, or I guess some people call them coins, you have the cups, and some people call it goblets, or bowls, I guess, in some of the suits or decks. And then you have the sword, which some people will call them daggers, or some people will call them blades. I mean, it's subjective to each individual deck, right? There are so many different decks out there, and they have different titles for these. And by the way, you'll find some decks that call it the disc plates, some decks that will call the chalice skulls. I think it's the chalice that they're referring to. You know, and of course they are all very symbolic of the original playing cards, which are your clubs, your spades, your diamonds, and your hearts. Let's see, the cups are synonymous with your hearts. The diamonds are symbolic of your swords, I believe. I'm sorry, your pentagrams. Your spades are symbolic of your blades, and your clubs are symbolic of the staffs or wands. So basically, it's a lot of information, isn't it? It really is. And so much it muddles my head whenever I try to explain it to people. But it is all very interesting, to say the least. There's so many different decks out there, and it's important that you find the right one for you. Now, there are so many decks of today that are so muddled with artistry. They try to cram so many symbols into one card and colors that it's overwhelming to the eyes, and you find yourself attention deficit while you're trying to focus on just that one card, because it's just too much. But imagine if you have 14 of these cards out in front of you. It's going to be far worse. For this reason, I've stuck with, and this has always been my original and go-to tarot card deck, as well as my scrying tool of choice, the original Rider Waite deck, or the Radiant Rider Waite at the most. And they are quiet and quaint. They have plenty of symbols on them. You don't need a lot of symbols, especially when you have so many places on your table and you have so many cards that will be read along beside it. Spiritually speaking, and I am very much the spiritualist, I believe that cards are meditative. So is your crystal orb or crystal ball. So is your runes and all other scrying tools for that matter. And it's not about having too much out there in front of you, because whenever all the chips are down, so to speak, there's going to be enough in front of you. So all of these other cards out there of today, and I know of 132 different decks as of my last count, and whenever I was selling via my wholesaler, that's what they alone carried, and that was over 5 years ago. There are a lot of new age decks today that implement so much color and vibrancy, so many symbols and flashes of things going through the cards that really make no sense to me whatsoever. Cards, crystal balls, pendulums, runes, these are all actually just tools, extensions of yourself, where the gift, it lies within the reader. It really does. And you have to rely on that and believe and have faith in that. Use the cards to draw out that gift. Use the symbols to pull out things that already rest within your subconscious or even your superconscious mind and bring it forward to the surface so you could read it with your conscious mind. That's what each of the symbols do in these cards. And you don't have to have a lot of those. I like a good clean card with just enough symbols in it. What does it say to you? What does it mean to you? What is the symbol and representation of? That's what's important. Now, I don't like these bare basic amount of symbols like in the playing cards, or less like I've seen in some of your more rustic, more ancient cards. But I do like to stay away from those with so much picture and they're trying to cram so many symbols into it so that they could sell a deck, or try to overemphasize certain things with so much color that you can't see the forest for the trees. It just really doesn't work for me, and I'm pretty sure that after a while most readers, they might draw to a deck that's pretty like that, things that belong in a museum. But then they draw back over time and they find themselves reading a deck similar to mine, which is like the original Rider Waite tarot deck, and that's what I read, which has pastel colors in it of light blues, maybe some little bit darker blues, but not heavier, darker, gold, some rustic reddish browns, and maybe some reds in it, you know, but they're not so over eye-catching, right? They're just right. Some oranges you might find in there. I don't know if I mentioned gold, but you know, these cards have what it takes, and they're subtle. They convey the messages. They don't overwhelm you, and yet they don't have so few symbols that you can't bring your own subconscious or superconscious out in them at the same time. You know, so they're really good cards, and most readers will draw back to a more simplified deck like that. And the reason why I like what I do is it's what I was taught on in 1983, the original Rider Waite deck, and at the furthest reach, the newest reach, the Radiant Rider Waite deck. To me, the Radiant Rider Waite deck has a lot more color in it, but not a lot of color in it. And they are vibrant, more vibrant, but they're still calm enough to where you can convey messages through it. You can get messages through it. And so I really like that. I like to keep it clean and fresh. As far as scrying goes, you can go into an art gallery. You could look into a painting that somebody has hung on the wall, and you can scry into that. You can scry into anything. A river, a burning fire. We use those as scrying tools, by the way. A bowl of water, a black mirror, a TV screen where the TV is turned off, pendulums, crystals, crystal balls, I mean, we read into everything. Hell, I can look at my ceiling texture and I can read into that. You can scry into anything. But if you cannot get in touch with your spirit being, the calm, peaceful guru inside of yourself, then you're not going to be able to make sense out of what's going on in there, and at the same time be able to apply words to that to where you can convey it to whoever you're talking to. On a different note, let's talk about getting in touch with your cards. Getting in touch with your cards, for one thing, making them yours. Right out of the gate, right off the bat, you do not want to start focusing your attention into them and focusing into each card, or putting them by your bed and sleeping with them or any of that until you have cleansed them first. You by no means want to put all of this time and attention and introducing them to yourself until after you've cleansed the cards. Why? Because good or bad, whenever you cleanse something by either holy water, which by the way you don't want to use on your cards, or anointing oil for that matter, you don't want to use that on your cards, but by sage smudge wand, Palo Santo stick, or any smokel type resins or incenses, you want to cleanse with something like that, and you want to do it before you put any of your time and attention or even introduce yourself to your cards. You want to cleanse them first and let them know who you are, and then you want to start focusing on putting your energy into them and making them yours, because if you're just going to cleanse all of that out anyway, you're wasting your time. So right after unwrapping them, you might want to go ahead and light up an incense for cleansing, whether it's a cone or a charcoal disc, a stick incense, or a Palo Santo stick, or sage smudge wand stick. You want to go ahead and cleanse it first. You may also be one of these people that want to use an herb for doing your cleansing, and that means taking the herb, grinding it up in your hands if it's not already ground, praying into it, and then rubbing it over your cards, or taking charcoal from something and rubbing it lightly into your cards, which I don't like to do because it dirties your cards. So I like to take a Palo Santo or sage smudge one or incense and run my cards individually through that incense while praying that these cards be made cleansed and purified, that they be made a tool for my use, that nothing dark, negative, or evil will reside within them. In the name of your higher power, blessed be, so mote it be, so be it, or amen, or praise Allah, or whatever you feel more kindred with. You know, you want to pray your prayer into them and cleanse them before you make them your own. Secondly, rest them on your nightstand for 3 nights, telling yourself you'll remember your dreams and all of that, and let my dreams go into my cards and let my cards share my dreams with me, that kind of thing. Do that for 3 nights, and then the next night going over them, each one, letting them talk to you, what they got from your dreams. And you talk to it saying, hey, oh, I get it. You know, you're trying to tell me, and going over every symbol within the cards. This is the best way to get to know your cards. And don't cleanse them again. Not anytime soon anyway. You know, and don't try to read with them if you don't know what you're doing yet. You want to get to know them and let them get to know you more than anything. Find a case or a protective something that you'll put them in and keep them in, preferably a hard case, because cards bend and there are accidents that happen. I keep my tarot cards in a white satin pouch that I created with my own hands. Now, you may not have to create yours with your own hands, and it may not have to be a pouch, but you at least want to wrap them tightly each time. And this is how I started, by the way, wrapping it tightly with just a square cut out piece of satin white cloth that I would wrap them and unwrap them into and from, you know, every time I got ready to use my cards and before I put them away. This is Lady Leeanna. Please, if you want to support the channel, get a professional tarot card reading from me by video call through either Skype or Facebook Messenger, or contact me by my email anyway, and we'll arrange some way for me to be able to communicate with you and do your face-to-face call, even through video of different measures. My email account is mysticshadowinsights@gmail.com, and you'll find it either here on the video or in the description below the video. So, bless you, take care of yourself, and I wish you pleasant journeys on your pathway of enlightenment within the tarot cards.